A few months ago, I set up an aquarium and made a massive mistake. I later realised I'd used the wrong kind of stones to build up the base layer in the aquarium. Because of this, it was causing the pH in the aquarium to rise, and as a result, the plants were not taking off anything like I'm used to. Having to look at it every day and know that it wasn't my best has really annoyed me. I knew I could do better, so the only option was to strip the whole thing down and build it again. I had to take out all of the fish and put them in a temporary tank that's fully cycled and completely safe for them. This means I do not have to rush the build, we can get it just right this time. The error came when I used a coarse gravel from a builder's merchant which had limestone in it. Now limestone breaks down when submersed in the water. What that does is cause small particles to float around in the water column. It raises the pH and the GH of the whole tank. Certain plants do quite well in that situation, like crypts, Phalacenaria and Java ferns, but most of them, the ones I really wanted to take off, stems and things like that, they just became brittle and snapped at the bases when all the fish were digging around the substrate, picking up the food that had fallen down there. So anyway, we completely cleaned out the whole aquarium. I'm talking absolutely everything. I didn't keep anything from the previous tank. I wanted to start completely fresh. A whole new substrate system was put in to provide tons and tons of nutrients to the roots of the new plants. And this time, I made sure not to use any of that dodgy material that caused the pH rise before. There's no limestone in any of the gravel that I've used this time, or the rocks for that matter. I then created what I feel is a really authentic hardscape. I've gone for a full-on natural style riverbed, and I've used lots of rounded pebbles, which seems to be coming in MD style. I just love the look of it, and I think it's the most effective way of giving that natural river vibe. But now it's time to take the whole thing to the next level, get it planted and get it filled up with water. Today's video is sponsored by API and Aquarian, so thank you very much, guys. Throughout the video, we're going to be using some of these products, but I use all of them very regularly. I use Leaf Zone to keep my plants looking luscious and amazing. Quick Start for adding fish when I first set up a tank to make sure everything's safe for them. Root tabs down in the substrate system to make sure the roots got everything they need. Freshwater Master Test Kit for ongoing testing and on startup, very important. AquaClear for making sure that my water is crystal clear, and Aqua Essential for purifying my tap water so everything is safe for my fish. Aquarian also offers a range of foods that I use for feeding my fish. My cichlids absolutely love these pellets. Watch this. Some are breeding at the back at the moment. Come on then, guys. Chuck some back as well. They just go nuts for it. Doesn't even get to touch the floor. There's also Cynodontis in here. They'll come out shortly as well. Here they come, look. Cynodontis, there's one back there. And in that gap, look, they're like mini sharks. They stay hidden a lot of the time until it's feeding, and then they really start to come out. Whole labyrinth back there that they're in. And then I feed a lot of my smaller fish the Aquarian flake food. So it's quite large flakes. You can feed it to big fish as well. But if you just crumble it between your fingers, look, it completely breaks up. And they all love that. And then there's like the right size for whatever the fish is, you know? Like we've got baby guppies in here, they'll have the tiny bits. The emperors, they're gonna get the bigger bits. I then feed the Aquarian algae wafers to any bottom feeders. Now the rainbows that are in here aren't gonna touch it, but we have got quite a few bristlenose dotted around. So I like to just chuck these in different areas. Whoops, it's on the surface. There we go. And there's cories and that in here as well. They'll pick on them. Oh, I feel bad now, I'm gonna feed you guys. You can have some sinking pellets as well. Nice. So yeah, once again, thank you very much, API and Aquarian, and now back to the build. So I'm really happy with how that tank is looking now, but obviously that wood will still just float up. It's been in tanks before, but it's no longer waterlogged. And hopefully you can see how I've strategically placed the wood on or near some of the big rocks there, all the way along. Look, right there, you can see that is the perfect point to put some glue and just attach it so it's completely stuck to the heavy ballast of the rocks. That way it can't float up, because I've had it happen way too many times. You don't glue it enough, put all your plants and everything's looking perfect, and then you fill the whole thing up and the wood comes up with it. Oh, disaster. So the way we combat that is with paper towel and liquid super glue. Super glue goes onto the paper towel, which is rammed in the cracks. Everything goes hard and sort of just bonds it all together. Basically turns everything into a hard plastic. It's all inert. It's safe. And now it's just a case of going around and looking for every single contact point we can with a rock and a piece of wood, ramming in a load of that tissue paper, and then covering it in glue. You've got to be a little bit careful because it does release fumes as the reaction takes place. So make sure you're in a very well ventilated area. And after you pour the glue on, just step right back, get away from it. It's nasty stuff potentially. So that is now everything completely locked down. It's not going anywhere. Please don't. It's always a slight element of doubt, but I have put a lot into that. It's taken ages, should be secure. Now I'm currently waiting for the delivery driver to arrive so I can put my plants in. But before we do that, I want to make sure there is absolutely 100% enough nutrients in the substrate for all of our plant roots. And for that, I have got API root tabs. I always use these, have been using them for a very, very long time now. You know, those of you who watch the channel, 6 years, something like that. Always use these. I find that they work really well and they go quite fast. So in this pack, we've got 10. I'll split each one in half and like sort of, you know, just spread it out evenly. So that means we can do 10 halves that side, 10 halves that side, and we're covering everywhere. So the tablets contain nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, and iron. And this is basically everything that the roots are going to need. So just in case we're missing any from the soil that we put in, we're covering all bases and ensuring that we're going to get growth for a long time. And the way I'm adding the root tabs is I'm just putting them in between some tweezers and then pushing them deep down into the substrate. We want to make sure they've gone in a good inch or so. I'll stop them just floating up to the top and just ensure that the right depth for the roots. Whew, we are prepped. Now the tracker says my plants should be arriving within the next hour. Hopefully that's correct. Usually pretty accurate, so fingers crossed. Fantastic news. My plants have arrived from Tropica. Yes. Now obviously I've ordered absolutely loads because, well, it's me. Now obviously that is pretty ridiculous. We've got about 4 layers deep of plants there. You know, it is a lot of plants and it's definitely expensive. It's cost me an arm and a leg, but I do want this thing to look absolutely insane. And with this lot, it's definitely gonna be. We're gonna have so many plants to start with that can do nothing but thrive, and that's the plan. So what I need to do now is just prep all of these plants. I've got to take out each individual stem, and then I've got to categorize them and put them all into their different types. So you're gonna make it way easier for planting. It's gonna take a long time, and I'm here on my own because Steph's on holiday. Oh, there we go. That took a while. We've got so many plants here. We've got stems, we've got crypts, and we've got all the epiphytes as well, all here. It's a lot of Java ferns. I went for all big plants. It's a big tank. I'm not too worried about small little, you know, intricate details. I think the river floor look is, you know, intricate in itself. Time to get planted. Now there's multiple ways in which we can do this. We can start with the stems at the back and work our way to the front. But what I like to do is start with all of the epiphytes, the stuff that sticks, you know, onto the hardscape. I've got a load of anubias and things to go on as well. So I basically build the logs up, just build all the islands we can see, and then I go from there because that will show us where the gaps are in between, and that's where we can really put the stems to make it come to life. I mean, eventually the whole background will just be stems, but to start with, I'll strategically, yes, place them so that you can see them nicely, and then as they go to the surface, trim and plant in the back areas, and that'll eventually grow as well. So what I'm doing here is putting blobs of super glue gel in the areas where I want to attach the Java ferns. And then you just take the bottom of the plant, the rhizome, and just plonk it on and push it. Hold it down for 10, 20 seconds, and that'll make it quite sort of tacky, and as time goes by, it'll just solidify. Now this doesn't damage the plant, and it's also completely safe for fish, shrimp, and snails as well. Basically just dries like an inert plastic and holds everything exactly where you want it. Oh, look at that. Look at how it just instantly comes to life. And I didn't use all of the Java ferns in the end. I've saved some for some future projects because I just felt that that was enough and it looks great. Now what goes really well with Java ferns is anubias, and all of these little areas underneath, like the little gaps in the rocks and things, those are perfect places for it. It's a little bit shadowed, so it doesn't need too much light anyway to grow. So that's perfect. Also, we can hide some of the joins, like that one there, because that's very artificial and ugly. But also there's so many cracks and crevices that you can just push the anubias in, which is good, because I've just run out of glue. So yeah, in the tank, look here, where all the fish are currently residing, we've got loads of anubias that I set up previously. They're all good. They just need a quick sort of rinse off, or I'll give them a shake and some of the mold will come off them, but they're all growing nicely and doing really good, so I'll transfer them over. Some of them are joined to rocks, so I'll just be able to transfer the whole thing, and some of them are loose, but that's fun, we'll find cracks. Hello, chunks. Look at you. Look at you, you absolute monster. He's like a puppy, look. He's like pleased to see me. He's so lovely. Just shut up and feed me. Oh yeah, that's my epiphytes done. Look at that. Just transforms the whole tank. And with Anubias and Java ferns, you do get the most bang for your buck in terms of the sort of space they take up versus the cost of them. So all of these Anubias that you can see here, all have come from little pots at one point and just kept growing new leaves. And now they just look amazing. Oh, so good. It's really, really coming along now. It's time to get started on some stems. I do have more epiphytes actually. I've got some nice boosters and things, but I think I'm gonna wait until we've filled it right up with water to put those in. For now, just crack on with the stems before they dry out. And I've been routinely using my misty spray thing, because although I'm in an air-conditioned room, like moving air means that stuff that's laid out dries quite quickly. So I've just been spraying as I go. Very important. Oh, that is all of my stems done. There is a lot in there. I've tried to block it out in sort of colours. I've got a huge pinky red area over here, and then I've got more of a green behind this island. There's quite a few reds and greens in the middle. There's Rotala rotundifolia behind this, which gives more of an orangey, slightly pinky hue. Then there's bright reds in the middle, and then there's big leaf greens that are going to grow at the end. So now I can get started on the mid-ground plants, which is going to be the crypts. We've got Crypt Wenti tropica. We've got Crypt spiralis red as well. S. repens we've got Crypt Wenti green. And we've got Nymphoides Taiwan, which is going to look wicked. So can we get these in and then we can fill it up. Whoa, that took a while. I am completely drenched in sweat. Up, down, up, down. See, it's very warm in here because I heat the studio to heat all the tanks. It's just more efficient. I'm going to fill this up right now because I don't want to keep drying it. I just want to chill out as well, sit down for a bit. Oh. So to fill the tank up, I will get water from my water butt here. Now, as you can see, no you can't. There we go, there's not a huge amount in there. So what I'm going to do is fill the water butt up and put in some Aqua Essential. And what this does is it detoxifies ammonia, nitrate and nitrite. You know, if you're using higher concentration, so you've got emergency in your tank, or for what I'm using it for in here, which is remove chlorine, chloramines and heavy metals from the tap water. So the tap water goes on and is going in. Shake up my bottle, put in the correct amount in here, which is going to be a whole capful and a bit, because not only am I putting what's in there into the tank, I'm also going to be refilling it again and again. But overall, there will be enough now in the whole system to detoxify the chlorine and chloramines and heavy metals. And it's all right saying, well, my tap water's good, I don't need anything like this. You're not in control of what's coming in through your taps. Like, it can vary. It can vary quite drastically as well. So I just think, get yourself some of this. You know, it's highly concentrated, so a bottle's going to last forever. And you just know then your tap water going in is absolutely safe. Now, in this instance, there's no fish in there, but if I was doing a water change, there would be. And that's going to be quite risky. You don't know what cleaning they've been doing at the water treatment plants, whatever, but get some of this. Make sure that your tap water is safe. Aqua Essential, it's essential. Now I do need to, of course, make sure that I am filling this up nice and slowly. So I've got some foam here. I'm gonna put that in there, best I can. Put a rock on it. Hopefully that'll help quite significantly, quite a lot. I don't know what I'm saying now. And in comes the filler thing. Does this reach down? Can't remember. Not quite. Ah, I know what I can do. Put this little bad boy clippy thing on. And I've also got this pot that's got holes all drilled into the bottom as well. Now this might look a little bit overkill, but we really don't want to disturb that substrate system. It's perfect at the moment. And yeah, let's crack on. Oh. there we go. We are full up. Now before I put the filters on, which we'll get to in a minute, I just want to go on the surface there, look, because we've got an absolute ton of like little leaves and things that have sort of broken off in the planting process and prep. So we'll get all those cleaned up. We don't want all of that going into the filters. There we go, that's most of that off. Now we can switch the filters on. And for filtration, I have got a Fluval FX6 in one side, and then another one over in this side. I've got these DIY CO2 canisters there, which I'm not going to be using. No, they're not plugged in. Oh yes, it is plugged in. Is it plugged in? Well, anyway, it's completely empty. There's no pressure in it. I'm thinking about using it. I'm not sure yet. I'm just going to see how it goes without CO2 to start with, because we've got such a good nutrient system there. And I'm growing plants really well without CO2 at the moment. Obviously, if you do add CO2, it's gonna absolutely take off. But it's really rewarding when you don't and you get it to take off without CO2. For instance, this tank here has CO2 running on it and it just looks absolutely nuts, right? In fact, I'm gonna steal some of those stems for the new tank, get some instant reds, because it also really, really does need a trim up. They're all hitting the surface. And here's my most recent no filter aquarium, no CO2 as well. And look, everything is growing insanely good. So it just goes to show you can do it. It's starting to carpet as well quite nicely. Just takes a lot more time. And this is my big 8-foot showpiece tank. I've got time. Now that I've got it set up right, I think it's gonna do really well. And now it's time to put the filters on. Should get some really good shimmer as well. I don't think I'm keeping these lights on, but we'll see how we go. I've actually got them turned right down at the moment to help with filming and the reflections, not reflections, glare from the sand. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. There we go. Bit of gunk still in the filters. It's been a couple of days, but they should be absolutely fine. And by tomorrow, this whole tank should be looking crystal clear. Right, it's the next day, and it's definitely not crystal clear. You can see a lot of like dusty particles on the surface, and also there's a slight haze to everything. And that is because there is very, very fine particles of sand and, well, whatever in the water column. But that's okay, because we have got a product for this. This is AquaClear. I use it very regularly, and that's because it's a product that fixes something like this very fast. Basically, the dusting in the water column is very, very microscopic fine pieces of dust that just recirculate around the filter and don't get picked up by the filter floss. And that is where this comes into play. What it does is it clumps those fine pieces together, makes them a little bit bigger, and then they can get caught in the filter. Now, we do not need a lot of this. So a bottle like this will gonna last, like, if you've just got a couple of tanks, this will last so, so long. For this size tank, I am gonna need just 5 capfuls of it for 1,000 litres. You know, not many people have got a 1,000 litre tank, but thankfully I do. Now, if you've got like a 60 centimetre size tank or something like that, you only need a couple of mil to go in there. So like a quarter of a capful, for instance, and that'll just get it well clear. Now, what tends to happen is it gets worse before it gets better. So when it gets worse, that's basically all the particles clumping together. And then over the course of a few hours for this size tank, to be honest, it's gonna get completely clear. On a smaller tank, an hour or two, but you do need filter floss in your actual filter system to pick it all up. So that's going to be in a little while, all of the dust particles in the water column sorted. But what about all the dust and biofilm and everything that collects on the surface? Well, for that, I've got this little contraption here. This is called a surface skimmer. It's got a hole at the top and a little pump that just pumps it back into the water column. And there's a little filter inside, a little bit of filter floss. So it takes all the water off of the surface and just cleans it all. Really, really good little thing, this, and yeah, you're barely going to see it. And because the way that the outlets of the filter are situated, they really disturb the surface near them. So I'm going to have to put it about here, or roughly near the middle, and then it'll pull everything into it. Stick it about there, and then turn it on. There we go, now it's working. It's going to pull everything into it. It works really fast as well. I've got it on fast setting, so it does push out some air bubbles, but that's absolutely fine. There we go, look, that was like literally 5 minutes and the surface is clear. All you're seeing now is air bubbles, and they'll clear eventually as well. Over on this bit, it just looks like a mirror. So yeah, all good. Right, it's been about an hour, and look at that. Now we are crystal clear. That's how good that AquaClear stuff is. It's been an absolute lifesaver for me at times when I wanted to show my tank off to people that came round, and I finished doing a sort of tidy up, and the water's so misty, it just fixes it so quick. But we are not done, however. We need to add in some API leaf zone It's got iron and potassium in it, which the plants are going to need because they're not got like established root systems. We've literally just planted them. So if we fertilize the water column, they'll be able to take nutrients from that whilst everything is like bedding right in. And I basically need all of that for this size tank. Let's get all that lovely nutrient goodness in there. It's all just going to spread around as well with the flow. Right, that's brilliant. We've got our substrate nutrients sorted. We've got our water column nutrients sorted. It's just a case of sitting back now and letting it grow in for a little bit. Although I do want to do a few things. This tank needs a mega trim, so I might as well trim it right back and use all the really nice red stems in the red zones in the new tank. Now the way that I'm going to trim this is just following the lines of the rock basically. Just keep cutting, and eventually I'm just going to clear a little section here. And now what I can do is just follow that pathway all the way along, making sure that I don't catch any of the fish with the scissors. They should all get out of the way. There we go. I'll carry on catching all the leaves in a minute. It's very difficult to not catch guppies and baby guppies. But just look at this lot, which we can put in the new tank. So what I'm going to do is take a section of plants, make sure that I bundle them close together like that. Just snap it off so they're all the same level. And I've got a perfect little bunch. And then what I'm going to do with that is take a little bit of a kitchen roll or paper towel and just group it together like that, wrap it round just to protect the stems a bit, and then take a plant weight and wrap it around it. And there we go. I'll just keep going making more of these. I'll do bigger bunches than this. I just did a smaller one just to show you an example. It's just that it's so much quicker than each individual stem, and you can properly get it to sink exactly in an area that you want as a group. There we go, look, we have got some amazing bunches there. And then I've got a load of Ludwigia here as well. I'm going to plant that freehand. So if we remember, I was going for a big red section in that gap, and then there's another section over there and more over that side as well. Now the good thing is that because we've got these plant weights, we can literally just plonk them near the surface, shove them in a little bit, and they'll stay exactly there. Just continue to grow. Loads of trimmings all still in it, but that's all right, we can get that in a minute. Nice gap for one this side. Look at that, I've got my mega tongs as well. Then we can go for a shorter one, look, right nearer the front. Looking good. And we've got some more on this side. And I think one more just down here. I'm barely pushing it into the substrate. It's just gonna sit near the surface and the roots will grow and find their own way down into the gravel and sand. And a couple on the end as well. Oh, that looks so good. There we go. I think we're there. I'm really pleased with that. I'm gonna give it a couple of weeks before I check back in with you. By then we should have some really, really good growth on all of the stems at the back. Like everything will be settling in perfectly. I don't want to put the fish in too quickly. They're fine where they are at the moment. They're nice and safe. But I'm looking forward to them exploring this whole tank. They're gonna absolutely love it. Make sure you're subbed and all that stuff, and I will see you very soon.